Welcome into A Toast of Film. Guys, we have a great quick episode for you. Sorry, I went and saw Trey up in North Carolina. We saw Terrifier 3. Stay tuned for that review. I had a tooth pulled last week, so I wasn't exactly filling up to recording, and I couldn't partake in beverages. This week, we are hosting with a Kentucky Pumpkin Barrel Ale. These are aged in bourbon barrels, and let me tell you, that sucker packs a punch. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're toasting with that, but we're here to talk about some amazing things, and not just my new LeChonk plush. Y'all see this? LeChonk, one of the greatest Pokemon. He's just a fat pig. I love it so much. But we are here to talk about 2 theatrical releases and 1 big new streaming release. So we'll be talking about Terrifier 3 in theaters now. We'll be talking about Saturday Night in theaters now. And we'll be talking about the brand new Shudder release, VHS Beyond. So, in a way, everything we're talking about this week will be series. So, like I said, I went to North Carolina this past weekend. I saw a couple of movies, including Terrifier 3. Went me, Trey, Spencer, Peyton. We all went, checked it out. Terrifier 3, it's written and directed from Damien Leone, who also did All Hallows Eve. That is where this vision of Art the Clown started, with this anthology, All Hallows Eve. And we have the returning Lauren Levera as Sienna Shaw. She has a movie y'all need to stay on the lookout for called The Fetus from Joe Lamb. It was something when I was able to do acting, I actually auditioned for, and let me tell y'all, that movie, I can't wait for the final product. That movie is going to be great, especially seeing how good she has been in these Terrifier films. And we got David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown. He was also the evil Grinch in The Mean One, movie I really enjoy. And also returning, we have Elliot Fulham as Jonathan and Samantha Scafidi as Vicky. She's the one who, if you've seen the previous film, she's like mauled, all kinds of terrible things happen to her. So with this one, Sienna, she's out of, in and out of psychiatric hospital. She's struggling with what she dealt with, as any person would. And Art the Clown's back, and you know what? He just wants to cause some Christmas ruckus. And I like the Terrifier movies. I don't love the Terrifier movies. Trey's definitely more of the Terrifier between the two of us. But I really appreciate, this very original, very fun slasher movies that he's created. And with this one, I think, Sienna, she's just a great character. I think Lauren Levera brings a lot to it. And David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown, he is always phenomenal. And with each of these Terrifier films, we go from more of a horror comedy to a comedy horror. We get more over the top with each film. The kills get crazier with each film, gets more zany. There was one scene, us 4 laughed so hard about this scene that we kept talking about it in the car ride home and still laughing. Art has someone in a compromising position where they can't move, and he just keeps walking behind them and like slapping them on the back of the head. And it was just so petty, but so funny. And, the thing with these Terrifier movies, they're all practical effects. So they're absurdly gory. I mean, entrails, blood, all this kind of stuff, but it's all done practically. So it's just a body horror, bloody good time. But one thing I want to touch on is Mr. Leone, he recently talked about, that shorter slasher films are full of filler, and because he was defending in his opinion, the unjust criticism of the lengths of his films. And I am one of those people. I think that these Terrifier movies, they have far too much filler in terms of they have too many shots that you get the point of the shot and it just keeps going. And for me personally, it's not about the kills. I'm okay with the kill, him torturing the, man or woman for 10, 15 minutes straight. I'm fine with that. Where my issue comes in is there's one scene in particular that I wrote down is Art is toying with creating a, contraption that he's intending to cause harm with. And Vicky, she is just kind of mutilating herself. And there's two scenes of that, and both of them just go on so long for no point other than shock and awe. And if it had been a kill, I'd been fine with that. But when it's just them sitting there, trying to be shocking, it just didn't work for me. And the Vicky character, she worked fine for Trey, loved her. Spencer and Peyton were a big fan. The Vicky character in this did not work for me at all. I thought we could have done without it. But I kind of get it because, Art the Clown, he does not speak. So it is kind of nice having, in wrestling, you have like Paul Heyman talks for people because Brock Lesnar doesn't talk. So you have Paul Heyman do the talking, help the audience with the exposition. And that's similar to what Vicky did in this. She's there for exposition, explanations, all that kind of stuff. So Art can stay the silent type. I definitely had a great time with this. I was laughing, having a really good time, and I enjoyed it. I would give it a 3.4 out of 5 cheers. I think that this franchise, I'm very excited to see what he does with 4 because there's this heaven and hell element that they add with each one. And I'm definitely excited. Let me give my rating, and then we're through the technology of my cell phone. We're going to shoot to Trey, who is the Terrifier fanboy. Okay, he loves this franchise through and through. We're going to cut to him for his review. But for me personally, I'll just say I think Terrifier 2 is still the best film. I think this is a close second, though. And then the third, the first, I definitely have to say is in third place. So Terrifier 2, Terrifier 3, Terrifier 1. But like I said, all good movies, all are above 3 cheers, and you should check out. But real quick, let's cut on over to Trey.
Man, I absolutely love Terrifier. Terrifier 3, it's a great franchise. Love the franchise. I've really embodied what each movie is about. But Art the Clown is great. He's fitting more into his role. He's a little bit more comedic in this one, which I laughed more in this movie than ever. And the kills, they might not quite live up to the bedroom scene in 2, but there was continuous creative kills in this movie that allowed it to be at that gore level of 2. But absolutely great movie. The improved on the lore, so very excited to see where Terrifier 4 is going to go. And really fun time. Overall, I think I give this movie 4.2.
All right. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate that review. I had to get him to get a review. They're in the process of moving, so I was unable to Skype him for this, but I wanted to make sure he let the people know because of how much love and care he has for this franchise. So next up, we have Saturday Night. So this is a movie about the very first episode of Saturday Night Live. This is a million people, so I'm just going to cut to some of the good stuff. So it's from Jason Reitman, big fan. And we got Gabriel LaBelle as Lorne Michaels. So Lorne Michaels, the creator of Saturday Night Live. He was incredible. Every time he's on the screen, you're following him. You're wanting him to win so bad. You become so attached to this guy because he has such, because we all have, 2024 vision. We know what SNL becomes. But back then, everybody's like, nobody's going to watch this crap. Get it out of here. And all that stuff. But he's so good. Rachel Sennett, who plays Rosie, she just had such a charm on screen where she could get anyone to do what she wanted. Just she had that such allure, and she every time her and Gabriel LaBelle, either one when they're on screen, you're just like, okay, what are you doing? Let's do this. Corey Michael Smith, Chevy Chase, hysterical. Just brought some cocky funness to it. Matt Wood as John Belushi, I really enjoyed. Because he didn't quite have that I'm trying to think of that, draw that just, oh my God, like who is this marvel of a person that a John Belushi or a Chris Farley would have, but he crushed it. Lamorne Morris as Garrett Morris, phenomenal. Ella Hunt, Gildner Radner, phenomenal. Nicholas Braun, and I actually did not know this until doing research. He played Andy Kaufman and Jim Henson. I thought crushed, slayed, whatever you want to say. That is not just enough for this man. This man, what he did as Andy Kaufman and Jim Henson, especially Jim Henson, incredible. That's the only way to state it. Dylan O'Brien as a cocky little, bugger, Dan Aykroyd. Him as Dan Aykroyd was pretty interesting to check out. And just to show you, like, those are just some people. But Willem Dafoe, Copper Hoffman, J.K. Simmons, Finn Wolfhard, Emily Farron, Kim Matula, Nicholas Padani, Matthew Reese. Like, this movie is star-studded. And not just star-studded by names, but star-studded by the value they bring to all these characters. And this movie, it's so chaotic. It's so tense that when I was watching it, I'm like, you start to be like nervous. You're like, okay, is this actually going to happen? And that in part is the chaotic way it's filming, where you're cutting from things to things. There's a lot of sliding effects. And it made me really want to check out those original years from Saturday Night Live. I love Saturday Night Live, but, I started watching Saturday Night Live in the 90s. But to go back and check out these episodes, it's something I did. I went ahead on Vudu, and they had the whole first season for $10. So I just went ahead and bought it. I'm definitely going to go check those out. Check out this movie, Saturday Night. It is just a chaotic but great film experience. And I think you're going to laugh, you're going to be tense, and you're going to have a really good time. Saturday Night, 4.5 out of 5 cheers from me. Finally, VHS Beyond. Now, I'm going to go ahead and warn y'all. If you want to stick around for this, I'm going to do my best not to spoil, but I'm going to have to minorly spoil what each segment is about. There's no way for me to get around that if I want to give y'all a halfway decent review. So, for those checking out now, thank you for watching. Please check us out on YouTube. Search A Toast to Film Podcast. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Check us out on Twitter at film_toast. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok, A Toast to Film, all one word. Now, for everyone else who has stayed behind, VHS Beyond, I'm going to talk about each segment. I'm going to do my best not to fully spoil. I'm not going to fully spoil, but I am going to spoil what each is about to an extent. So, just stick with me, guys. So, the VHS Beyond, you always, for those who haven't seen it, these VHS films, they are found footage anthologies where you have a overview story that kind of links your stories, and then you have your actual, segments. So the overview in this one is about this notorious house that is a hot spot for a UFO or paranormal activity. That's what the overview was. I really enjoyed it. It kind of gave you like a Ancient Aliens vibe, which I really liked. and I definitely appreciated that. Segment 1, y'all, double chef's kiss, all the kisses. Segment 1 is about a SWAT force of sorts that go into a house, and there are these zombie things, which then leads into this like alien creature that's responsible for zombies. Incredible watch. And the camera work with like the police cams. I mean, this is what found footage should be like because it's engaging, it's incredible. The action made me think of like a Resident Evil or something. Phenomenal. Number 2 is an actress who's dealing with pressures, who turns out to be an android who may no longer be okay, you know, being subservient to people. This one I thought was really cool. They did some really cool effects with it. Definitely not my favorite of the bunch, but not bad. Number 3, some friends are skydiving when a UFO crashes into the planes. I will admit it. When this one started out, I was not about it because it's found footage inside a plane looking through like the glass of plane window. Was not about it. However, this really cranks up, and the alien design is so crazy. You gotta watch it. Segment 4 is about a dog sitter. Think about that Justin Long movie Tusk, but a dog sitter who is being investigated by like a PETA type group. This one, the premise is so good. The execution, though, just much like Tusk, comes off silly. I think maybe had it not been found footage or maybe had a little higher of a budget, it might have been a lot better. But it's still good. I still really liked it. I just think it just comes off a little too goofy. And the last one, which I will actually say is the weakest of the segments, this woman investigating UFOs, she gets on a ship and she gets injured because it's, going into hyperspace, and nanites keep fixing her, but as she's getting fixed, she's mutating. Solid, all caps, solid idea. Not the best execution, though. Found footage, it's such a hard subject to tackle because, especially with these VHS films, they want to feel like this could be a VHS that you just walked up, picked up, bam, you have your VHS. But at the same time, you have to understand you got to make this where your audience can see everything and can follow along. Still great, still really good time. I would put it at like a 3.3 out of 5 cheers. Highly enjoy it. I love the VHS franchise, so definitely check it out. But guys, really good week this week. We had Terrifier 3. Great movie. Could have been shorter, but I'm very, very excited to see where he goes with Terrifier 4. Saturday night, top notch. Check it out. And VHS Beyond. It's on streaming. Shudder, the best value for your money streaming service. So check it out. But guys, we've reached the end of the episode, and we got some good stuff coming out this week. I'm going to try and do a catch-up episode where I catch up on some stuff that's come out. And also, if I'm not mistaken, on Amazon Prime, Brothers comes out. This is a movie with Josh Brolin, Glenn Close, Peter Dinklage, Brendan Fraser. It was actually the final movie I ever acted in, so we'll see how many of my scenes end up making it to cut. I did get to meet Peter Dinklage. He's very nice. And I also, got a hug of sorts. Got the old arm around from Glenn Close. She was a very sweet woman. So that one I will be able to review. I'll let you know. And I'll give y'all some stories. I got a lot of stories from, me and my friends who were there. So stay tuned for that. And we have Mr. Snell's Pick of the Week, Frankenhooker. So if you haven't watched it, make sure to check it out. And then we'll pick another Halloween, Mr. Snell's Pick of the Week. But If you want to let me know what I need to catch up on, or let me know what you think of these franchises, what do you think? Do you like the Terrifier franchise? Have you seen Saturday Night Live? What about the VHS franchise? Or anything else? There's so many ways you can do it. But let me tell you the best ways. Check us out on Instagram or TikTok, a toast to film, all one word. Or hit me up on Twitter at film_toast. Or please check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Just search a Toast to Film podcast. From Trey and myself, we just wish you a good night and good viewing.